Hey guys, Mark here from ratings.com, and today we're comparing the Samsung Galaxy Buds to the Beoplay E8 2.0. They're both truly wireless in-ears with Qi wireless charging cases. They're also both slight updates to older models, the Galaxy Buds replacing the Gear Icon X, and the E8 2.0 being the second iteration of the Beoplay E8 design. So what's new, and what sets them apart from the competition? And also the Beoplay being considerably pricier than the Samsung, are they worth your money? Or are you better off going with the cheaper Galaxy Buds instead? Well, in this review, we'll be comparing the design, sound, isolation, and leakage, which you'll get to hear for yourself later on in the video, as well as the active features and connectivity. But as always, let's start with what's in the box. As for what's in the box, for the Samsung Galaxy earbuds, you get 3 pairs of stability sleeves, 3 tip options, the manuals, the USB-C charging cable, the case, and the earbuds themselves. It's about the same for the E8, although you do get 4 pairs of silicone tips, an additional pair of memory foam tips, the manuals, the USB-C charging cable, the case, and the E8 2.0 headphones. Now let's get the boxes out of the way and compare the design. For their build quality, here the Beoplays have the upper hand and feel more premium overall. The Galaxy Buds have a smaller form factor and a very compact design that some may prefer. Their case is also a bit smaller than the previous model. It's fairly well built and should easily keep the buds in place when carrying them around, although it does feel slightly cheaper than that of the Gear Icon X. It also doesn't have the high-end finishes of the E8 2.0's case. The buds do not feel as dense or as sturdy as that of the Beoplays, and they're only rated IPX2. Unfortunately, we do not yet have a water and sweat resistance test on our current test bench to confirm this, but considering that sweat resistance and clogging issues that would reduce the volume level of one earbud compared to the other was the biggest downside of the Gear Icon X, this may be a deal breaker for some, especially if you often run and work out with your headphones. Otherwise, for most casual day-to-day activities, they feel about as well built as most truly wireless in-ears we've tested recently, with the benefit of being one of the smallest truly wireless design, which does play a role in comfort. The E8 2.0s, on the other hand, have a more premium look and feel that doesn't change much from the previous model, especially when it comes to the earbuds. The buds are dense and feel like they can take a bit more of a beating than the Samsungs. The case, however, has changed a little bit though, but not by much. It's about the same size as the previous model and a little larger than the Galaxy Buds case, but has a more luxurious leather coating on the outside that most will prefer. On the inside, they have this brushed metal finish that looks and makes it feel like a high-end item, and may be the deciding factor if you're looking for a premium design that sets itself apart from the competition. Both cases also support Qi wireless charging, but we'll talk a bit more about that in the active features section. As for comfort, here the Galaxy Buds are slightly more comfortable than the Beoplays. They fit slightly better in most ears thanks to their smaller size. Once in your ears, they hold quite steady, which is great for most sports, although the sweat resistance may be a bigger issue. On the other hand, they come with 3 tip sizes and a few fins to help you find a better fit. And once you get the right setup for your ears, you barely feel like they're there and somewhat forget about them. Unfortunately, they still have an in-ear design, so they won't be quite as comfortable as the AirPods for some, but if you like in-ears in general, then they're definitely one of the more comfortable options that we've tested. The Beoplays, on the other hand, are slightly bulkier, which does mean that they won't be as good as the Galaxy Buds for users with smaller ears. They also do not come with any fins to adjust them to the notch of your ear, which is not ideal, but on the upside, they come with a bit more tip options than the Galaxy Buds. The foam tips especially fit well within the ear canal and makes them quite stable for running and working out. The silicone tips are about as good, but won't be as secure in your ears as the foam tips. Overall, the Beoplays are decently comfortable, but if you have smaller ears, then the Galaxy Buds would be the better fit. Lastly, for the control scheme, and here the Beoplays have the slight edge since they provide all the functions without needing to button map any volume controls. Unlike the Gear Icon X, the Galaxy Buds default setup does not have volume controls. Instead, it's a feature that's buried within the app and it's not available on iOS. With the default setup, you can use the right or left earbud to manage calls and music playback. 1 tap plays and pauses your music, 2 taps skips tracks, and 3 rewinds. If you press and hold, you trigger the voice assistant. However, if you have an Android device, you can install the Samsung wearable app and switch the press and hold function to trigger the ambient mode or the volume up with the right earbud and volume down with the left. It's not the most intuitive of control schemes, but on the upside, it's a bit easier to use than the swipe gestures for volume on the Gear Icon X. And when you switch to the alternate setup, you still have playback functions like play, pause, so if you don't really use your voice-enabled controls, then you should be fine. The Beoplays, on the other hand, have all the functions with a series of taps and holds. 1 tap on the right earbud plays and pauses your audio, 2 taps skips tracks, and 3 taps triggers your voice assistant. 1 tap on the left earbud enables the ambient mode, 2 taps rewinds tracks, but there's no function for 3 taps. If you press and hold the right earbud, you turn the volume up, and if you press and hold the left, you turn the volume down. It's a decent control scheme, but does take a bit of time to get familiar with. On the upside, at least you have all the functionality without needing the app, which is much better for iOS users. So overall, for their design, the Beoplay are better built, more sweat resistant, and look a lot more premium. They also work equally well for Android and iOS, although they are slightly bulkier, so they won't be as comfortable for everyone, especially if you have smaller ears. And that's pretty much it for their design. Now let's compare the sound quality, isolation, and leakage with Sam.
In terms of sound quality, both the Samsung and the Beoplay have a decent performance, but between the two, our recommendation would be the Samsung for its slightly better balanced treble. I would also like to point out that the Samsung Galaxy Buds perform nearly identical to the Samsung Gear Icon X, and the Beoplay E8 2.0 sound nearly identical to the first generation E8. Now, before looking at their measurement results, we are going to play a recording we have done with these headphones, so you can get an idea about how their sound compares for yourself. Just keep in mind that this is a relative comparison and not an absolute one. So it is good for seeing which headphone has more bass or treble, for example, but you won't be able to judge their actual sound profile. And if you get one of these headphones and listen to the same track that we've used here, you most likely won't hear the same thing. Here, we have the frequency response of the Galaxy Buds on the left and the E8 2.0 on the right. And as you can see, they have a relatively similar frequency response. In the bass range, the Galaxy Buds are a bit shy on thump and punch, but compared to the E8 2.0, which has a bit more bass, the difference is not huge. The mid-range of the Galaxy Buds is very flat and well balanced, which means vocals and lead instruments will sound clear and accurate on them. The E8 2.0 also has a pretty good mid-range, but the bump in low mid makes vocals and leads a bit thick and their overall sound a bit cluttered. In the treble range, both of these headphones perform well up to 6 kHz, meaning they provide a good amount of detail and brightness for vocals and instruments. But the peaks in mid-treble, also known as the sibilance range, makes them sharp and piercing on S and T sounds. This will be especially more noticeable on the E8 2.0. So if you're sensitive to sibilant headphones, you may find the E8 2.0 a bit painful on bright tracks. Overall, these headphones lack a little bit of bass and are a bit sibilant, but the Galaxy Buds will provide a more pleasant listening experience more of the time. I would also like to mention that the smartphone app that comes with these headphones offers a limited amount of adjustment to their sound, so you may be able to tweak their sound to your liking. The measurements shown here were done with the EQ turned off. In terms of frequency response consistency, both of these headphones. Otherwise, you may experience a noticeable drop in bass. Now for isolation and leakage, we have also recorded a comparison, which we're going to play now. First up is isolation. As you can see, the isolation performance of these in-ears is quite similar, and both do a great job of blocking out speech and air conditioning noises. However, the Galaxy Buds provide a bit more isolation in the treble range, and the E8 2.0 performs noticeably better in the bass range. Since there is some diminishing returns in treble isolation after a certain point, the E8 2.0 will provide the better isolation overall, especially for commutes and travel where you may want to isolate the low rumbling sounds of airplane and bus engines. Now, let's listen to the leakage recording. In terms of leakage, these headphones, like most in-ears, perform great and barely leak. The Galaxy Buds could leak some sharp S and T sounds at very loud volumes, but you basically don't need to worry about the leakage of these headphones in most situations, unless you are blasting your music in a very quiet environment like a library or an elevator. Now, let's go back to Mark for the active features.
For the active features, starting with the wireless range, here the Galaxy Buds have a slightly better range when obstructed than the Beoplays at 54 feet compared to 37, but do a little worse in direct line of sight at 100 compared to the Beoplays 136 feet. Unfortunately, the Galaxy Buds, though slightly better in obstructed range, which is more suitable for everyday use, had quite a few connection stability issues when pairing to PCs and mobile phones. There was a recent update to fix connection stability as indicated in the patch notes, and we did notice a slight improvement, but the connection stability still had a few issues from time to time. Unfortunately, we do not yet have a reliable test for that, so we can't confirm how well the update will work for most users, and note that the wireless range does depend quite a bit on your device. As for latency, both headphones are pretty bad, but the Galaxy Buds are much worse. The Galaxy Bud had about 372 milliseconds of latency compared to the Beoplay's 256. Unfortunately, this means that both headphones will not be suitable for gaming on mobile phones and even watching videos, although we have noticed that some apps and devices do offer a slight compensation, so they may not be as bad for everyone. They do not have any low latency codecs like the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless and other Bluetooth headphones with aptX LL, low latency, so if you mostly use your headphones for watching movies at home, you might want to check those out instead. For battery life, it's a mixed bag and depends a little bit on your use case. The Beoplays have the longer battery life overall, since they have 3 additional charges in their case and last about 4.5 hours on each charge for a total of 18 hours. However, the Galaxy Buds are one of the longest lasting truly wireless in-ears in terms of continuous playtime, at 7.5 hours of playback on a single charge, but only have 1 additional charge in their case. This brings the total battery life of the Buds to about 15 hours, but then again, if you have a long continuous listening session or a particularly long flight, the Buds would be the better option. However, for everyday use, if you often put the earbuds back in their case to charge, then the E8 2.0 would be the slightly better choice. On the upside, both these headphones charge relatively fast via USB-C, the E8 at 1.2 hours and the Galaxy Buds at 1.6, and they both support Qi wireless charging, which is pretty convenient if you already have a wireless charger or a phone that supports it, like the Galaxy S10 or the latest iPhone. For the apps, the Samsung wearable apps gives you slightly more features with the Galaxy Buds than the E8 2.0 with the new Bang & Olufsen app. With the Samsung wearable, you get a battery level for each earbud, a preset equalizer, enabling voice notifications in the buds, button mapping, and a Find My Earbuds feature. It's a decent app, but not quite on par with that of other truly wireless headphones like the Jaybird MySound app, which gives you a much better and more customizable equalizer. This is also the case for the E8 2.0 with the Bang & Olufsen app, which acts like a hub for all your Beoplay products. Unfortunately, you get a slightly lacking list of features. The touchstone presets give you a bit more flexibility since you can blend multiple presets together. But apart from that, you get a very bare bones in-app player and a transparency slider. Overall, both apps feel a little bit disappointing, especially when compared to other headsets. Lastly, for the connection options, the Beoplays are Bluetooth 4.2 and the Galaxy Buds are Bluetooth 5.0, so they may get a slightly better performance in wireless stability and range overall with a 5.0 source. But unfortunately, our current test bench only goes up to Bluetooth 4.2 for now. On the other hand, both headphones do not have multi-device pairing or NFC. They also come with USB-C cables, but only for charging. So in the end, which one should you choose? Well, the Galaxy Buds will most likely be the better option for most, especially for Android users. They're more affordable, slightly more comfortable and compact, and they sound a little bit better too, although their default sound is a little bit bass light. The Galaxy Buds also have a longer continuous playtime, which will be a bit better for longer listening sessions, but the E8 2.0 have a longer battery life overall. The E8 also have a better, more premium looking design that most would prefer, since they have all the controls and functions available for both Android and iOS, unlike the Galaxy Buds. If you have the budget, then they're a great choice, especially for iOS users, but for most, the Galaxy Buds will be a better value. However, we do not know yet if they will have the same clogging issues as the Icon X. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.